We saw the governor last week make a historic announcement to take diversity, equity, and inclusion programs out of our higher ed institutions. We applauded that effort, and we are going to move to ensure that the same compliance is held for our K-12 institutions. So we will be eliminating any DEI programs from any of our K-12 institutions. DEI should rightly be called discrimination, exclusion, and indoctrination. We need to make sure that our schools are focused on getting back to the basics, not focused on resources and programs that divide us. Our kids, every single one, are created in God's own image. He created us as individuals, not as members of groups like oppressed and oppressors. We all have God-given potential, and the role of education is to unlock that potential, not to destroy it at the altar of woke indoctrination. What we will be doing with this rule is to ensure that we don't have anything related to diversity, equity, and inclusion positions. So that would be the roles themselves. This would be the curriculum. This would be the programs. Schools and school resources need to be in supporting students and their outcomes, not creating a culture of victimhood. So what we will be doing is ensuring that our districts are focused on student outcomes, focused on students as individuals. And this will do a tremendous job in ensuring that we won't allow the left to use our schools to indoctrinate our kids, but instead, our schools will be there to empower our kids. The next rule that I wanted to highlight for the group is one dealing with religious freedom. You all have heard me give several examples of the issues of these out-of-state groups targeting our teachers, and then lately targeting even our students that would pray or mention Bible verses in the classroom. The founders enshrined our religious freedom in the Constitution, but frankly, you all know our history. Religious freedom predates the Constitution. That was so much of why we had so many who came to this great country. What we've got to do is we've got to ensure that our teachers and students are protected. We have a rule in place that will ensure that prayer and Bible verses and any kind of religious expression there can be protected. We have seen that this group intentionally has targeted some of our small rural schools, and they know what they're doing here. They are intentionally targeting schools that they know would have a tough time fighting them in court. So we have stood with those schools and said, we will stand with you for any kind of legal help that you need in fighting back against these left-wing groups. We are going to continue to pass rules and make sure that we're doing all we can to stand for individuals' religious freedom here in the state of Oklahoma. We will protect prayer in our schools. The last rule that I wanted to bring to your attention before we move on is the issue that we've seen in one district in particular, and that is the use of drag queens as administrators and being hired by a district. We are proposing a rule that would update the teacher code of conduct to include sexual activity in public targeted towards kids to be inappropriate for those that work with our youngest students. So what we will be ensuring is that parents will have concerns have been heard and acted upon. I've heard from parents all over the state who are very concerned with the left pushing sexuality on our kids, pushing transgender ideology. And so what we will do is we will ensure that our kids are protected in our schools of not being exposed to sexual material, but instead have adults around them that are going to operate within our kids' best interest. Students should not be exposed to sexually inappropriate material, and we will lead as a state to ensure that every child and every parent in our state knows we're doing all that we can to ensure that will not happen in our schools.